back. I know. I'm sorry.
I like to just wing it. It's good.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Woohoo!
Hey, everybody. It's Alex, and I got Chris and Martha, Vallejos, with us today. Today, we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different. We had been interviewing different real estate agents and, different people in the real estate community. We'll continue to do that as we get people. But I talked to Chris, and I told him, I think what we need to do is really just do a little chautauqua or a little talk on just what is going on with this mortgage forbearance. And so Chris has done some research. Martha's a genius, and she knows, I'm not going to say everything because
she knows everything. She knows everything.
She's pretty smart.
She does. She's smart.
So we got her on there. We're going to talk about mortgage forbearance. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? Haven't really seen you in a little bit.
I'm good. I cut my hair. I donated the 8 inches to Locks of Love. So that was 8 inches cut off my hair. I decided to shave my goatee.
You didn't donate the goatee, did you?
I couldn't donate the goatee. I wasn't as long as yours. So that's almost Locks of Love thing there.
Oh, that's so gross.
and so you put on the head. No, but everything's good. There's a lot of changes coming on, and I'm excited to see the changes, and I'm excited to just see everything.
Announcement. Can you make your announcement yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Maybe next week we'll do a big announcement. Or in a couple weeks. Perfect. Couple weeks, yeah.
Awesome.
Give you a couple weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
give me a couple weeks.
How's Midwest life treating you?
Me?
Yeah.
It's good. It rains. I don't need moisturizer.
That's so awesome.
Go back to school next week.
Oh, wow.
So
that's next week?
Next week they go back. They don't start till Tuesday. So
that's awesome.
A few more days at home, and then, it's good.
That's awesome.
Kind of cool. So we're going to get into the mortgage forbearance piece, and this is kind of nice because we represent the New Mexico and the Ohio market now. So, we got a couple different markets that we can refer to when we start talking about the mortgage forbearance. Just, it kind of gives us, we end up in our own little circle sometimes, you know what I mean? And we forget there's a whole other world out there. Mm-hmm. I think it's good for us to know, how other areas are doing. What are other areas doing to handle these issues? And so with us being, split market like that, I think that'll give us a great reference point because these markets are totally different. So I think this is going to be fun. And just to let everybody know, Chris, Martha, this is a safe space. So if we disagree on the stuff we're talking about, it's okay. There's no right or wrong necessarily because, I'm going to give my opinions on it. And I'm sure Martha won't agree with me. Okay? I want to let everybody know it's a safe space.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, let's get going. Do I even have an intro anymore?
I don't know. Do you?
What happened to the BAM?
I don't even have an intro anymore.
What happened to the BAM, man? We had the BAM go boom, episode 32.
Yeah, I don't even have that. I got nothing. We'll just get started. Let's go. Okay. Let's go. All right, one of you. You guys help me out. What is for mortgage forbearance in case somebody doesn't know what it is?
Okay.
Who wants to go? You go, Chris.
Okay, so mortgage forbearance is when possibly the client is not able to make that mortgage payment. So what they do is they talk to that service provider that is servicing their loan, and they talk about how they could help them on the payment. Now, when you're talking to your service provider or the client is actually talking to the service provider, they're not forgiving those payments. So everybody's thinking that, hey, you know what? I'm going to forgive those payments, but we're not forgiving any payments. What it is they're moving those payments. They might be increasing the term of the loan. They might be taking those payments and placing them at the end of the loan. You can go from a 30-year to a 40-year. It's almost like, it's lowering their payments, but their payments are somewhere in there. And I think the biggest things for the clients out there right now is to call up your service provider and say, what happens to the payments that I am not paying? because I think that's the biggest thing right now, because everybody's like, okay, I don't have to make mortgage payments until September. Okay, when this ends at September.
Right.
But they do not contact the mortgage. They're going, I don't have to make that payment. But what happens after September?
Yeah.
And I think that they have to get on the phone with your service provider, even a loan officer out there in New Mexico or wherever you're at. Get out there, call your local loan officer, call me, call whoever, and say, hey, can you help me figure this out? Because we're consultants. We're not just people doing loans, okay? We're consultants. We're going to consult you through this, and we're going to help you through this process.
Right.
And that's what forbearance is. Now, granted,
so we currently have a client. We put their house up on the market, and it was kind of funny how sometimes people just release information slowly to you. So we end a couple weeks in. Oh, by the way, we're in forbearance, and we just got this notice that we have to pay. It was they had to catch up on all the payments like within 30 days, or they have to refinance the property. That would have been good to know at the beginning, because we could have dealt with the bank and everything else. And so we're starting to see that now. And like talking to the title company, they're having to learn how to deal with this, because it's going to be a little bit different than just, the normal sale. They've got to communicate with the bank quickly to when's closing? When do we have to have this done? And it's going to be a little bit different. Absolutely. But it's coming. I mean,
I think it confused a lot of people at the beginning of COVID, because they were like, oh, I can't. People panicked and they went into forbearance, and there's still millions of people in forbearance that's going to end for them, and they don't know what to do. So, I mean, I think it's going down, but it's still a lot of people. I think I read somewhere that 4.5% of the people that did forbearance are behind on their payments anyway. There's a lot of people behind on their mortgage right now.
What do you guys have for numbers?
Well, there's a couple of numbers
people that are in for forbearance right now.
Well, so this right here was taken off of a website, but today an estimate of 1.7 million, and now I'm reading this, okay? So if you're not seeing my screen, but an estimate of 1.7 million homeowners are in forbearance or in forbearance plans.
Is that about the number you got too, Martha?
Yeah, I had like about 1.8 in July. So yeah, if your numbers
that is according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, okay? And now, bearing the last minute policy changes, most of these homeowners will be forced to exit these programs, which is going to be different. I mean, as far as like the new report from like Zillow is plus 4%. And then you'll have the plus 43% estimates. Around 850,000 borrowers will exit forbearance or plans to in the month of August and October.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's just dive in. I had a mentor once tell me, there's things that don't mean anything, right? For example, if I tell you I want a large house, so you guys yell out what you think a large house is in square footage. Ready?
4,000 square feet.
What do you think a large house is, Chris? 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Well, seriously though, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, 4,000, 5,000.
Chris's numbers a little, 4,000 to Chris isn't a big house. That's just the cottage out in the mountains,
Yeah.
But the point being, is 1.7 million a lot of people, or is it not really a lot of people?
Okay.
So to kind of put it in reference a little bit, so nationally, we're averaging about 500,000 homes sold a month, right? Mm-hmm. So 1.7 would represent about 3 months supply. So if the market got hit with 3 months supply of houses right now, would that be bad?
No.
You don't think?
I don't think it would be horrible.
What do you think would happen?
Well, the average days on market right now are so low. A lot of these buyers that have been waiting could find a home. I mean, pricing will drop. Yes.
So if all these houses got dumped on the market, if they did, that's never going to happen, right, Chris?
Right. Well, I mean, you're gonna look.
It's never going to happen.
If it ends, okay. So if we even go into the number of, let's kind of let's kind of circle back. Let's circle back to the past year. Okay. Now Zillow was saying like 25% of the borrowers that ended forbearance in the past year have exit forbearance, has sold their house. I actually sold their house. They're saying 25%. So, I mean, if we even take a rough number around that, that's not going to be an abundance of house. Yes, it will increase the, market a little bit as far as houses for sale. But like Martha was saying, I mean, the average time frame on the market, I mean, is that going to really, well, it's going to be more opportunity for homeowners out there, right?
Yep.
Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it'd be more opportunity, like the people that are out there looking for homes, or these lenders that have these pre-approvals in their system that can't find anything. Well, you might be able to get rid of at least 25% of that, right? You would think, right?
I mean, can find a house. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So if we're saying, so realistically, maybe 25% of that number might hit the market.
Okay. I would say 15. I would say about 15. Yeah,
I agree. Maybe
I
15,
mean,
I think so. So, okay. So let's just say 25, let's be doomsday.
Okay.
That's not even 1 month supply. So that would be absorbed. I don't even know if people notice that.
No, probably not.
That would just be gobbled up.
It'd be like if it's a 15%, it would be like 0.4 months.
Oh yeah.
It's not even, through the month of August through October, or, however it might be, it'd be about 0.4, which would represent a 15% increase in inventory.
And then this is what would happen. I think even if they went worst case, okay, say they dumped 1.7 million houses on the market. Again, they will never do that. These people are still going to have to live somewhere.
Yes.
So even if there was a flood of houses hit the market, I think these investors, I know for a fact, they've been waiting for stuff to come on the market.
Right.
Right. So they would gobble up houses. Now these people would end up renting. They still got to live somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So,
I think whatever happened, I think these houses are absorbed within 2 months. Minimum,
at least.
Worst case.
If it goes to the 15%, that would estimate around, I would say roughly about 211,700 homes, which is really not
estimate.
That 211,700.
That's a very precise estimate.
Thanks.
Less than half a month.
Yeah. So I mean, that's not that, when you're thinking about all the, the 1.7 and you're kind of calculating that, that would add maybe that wouldn't double the inventory.
No, that wouldn't even double it.
No.
Nationally, I think inventory is around 1 million, they're saying, was the number
Yeah.
that I saw in NAR. So yeah, it'd be a blip.
Well, it depends on what and again, we're doing estimates. So it really depends if they're going to leave the forbearance.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's if
so
they leave.
That's if they leave their forbearance. If they decide, if forbearance ends in September and they decide to go back to their financial institution, to a service provider, what are the chances of the service provider allowing them to modify their mortgage? Everybody hates that word modification, but modify your mortgage into a 40-year mortgage. Now they can actually live in their property. So if we're talking about them exiting forbearance, because they don't want to deal with the house, they want to get something bigger or however it might be. But a lot of those percentages, and I would say the percentage would fall of people not wanting to leave their house and then thinking that they could go into a modification,
right?
And then just increase the term. And that's something that everybody that's listening to this, that is in forbearance and they're thinking of getting out of forbearance, that they call their service provider, see if there's a modification, making sure that they do not tell you to stop making payments. Okay. Make your payment and make sure you get it in documentation that you're making your payment during this modification. And then
I got a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
So these people haven't been making a payment for 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever, 10 months. Nothing bad has happened to their credit yet, has it?
No.
So if they go and they make the modification, so like my one clients did, they took the loan, they offered him a good loan. They just refinance everything for 30 years. His payment's like next to nothing because he's got so much equity in the property. But if they miss that payment, now we got issues if they decide to buy something later. Correct?
Correct.
So that
because then you go
on your credit yet,
right? Okay. Because I mean, you'll have those non-prime lenders out there say, okay, yeah, it's okay, but you're going to get hit with this huge rate, right? Or like FHA says, hey, you can't have more than 4 lates in the last 24 months,
right?
So I mean, if we're going to go into guidelines, I mean, 4 lates is 4 lates. 2 lates, Fannie doesn't really look at that, like the investors, Fannie and Freddie don't really look at that. I mean, you can run a scenario with them, but of course, again, we got a client approved, even if they had 4 mortgage lates.
Right. My big takeaway was I just wanted people to know nothing bad's happened yet.
No.
Yeah, and I also had another question for you, Chris. You might have heard about this because I was reading an article and they said that the federal government's going to require lenders to work with people who are in forbearance and possibly lower their principal.
Yeah, so
they're like making the servicers work with the client.
Right. And that's like we were talking before, is that once that, and of course we know that this stuff is going to start ending in the September area when the people are going to start pulling out of forbearance. They're sending them emails or they're sending them mails, the service provider saying, hey, your forbearance is almost up, this and that, please contact us and see what the next step. And then that's where the modification, they're lowering rates or doing whatever your service provider, but they have to call the service provider. They're not going to do it for free.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be some charges involved in it, but make sure, and anybody that's looking at this, make sure that they get in documentation on what is being charged and how much is it adding on to my principal and how long is this going to take me to pay off this mortgage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, service providers are helping people out. Absolutely.
Because they don't really want to foreclose on all those properties.
No,
either.
absolutely
That's
not.
Expensive and time consuming for the lender too.
Right.
So yes, and honestly, you could go to another lender. You can just refinance like normal. I know I said it, but nothing bad has happened yet. Right now, anybody coming off of this, it's 1.7 million. It's crucial that you do something now. You can't put your head in the sand. You can't hope it's going to be okay. We can't, we're not waiting for more stimulus checks. We're not. it is time.
I'm still waiting for mine.
They just keep spending money. They don't have more kids. They just keep mailing us money. I don't even know.
But it's true though, because I had also seen that 90% of the people in forbearance have enough equity that if they can't refinance, they could sell.
Right.
And they still be okay. There is a small percentage that doesn't have equity in their home right now. So they should definitely be proactive and do something.
Yes.
Because you don't want to miss your payment. Like you're saying, keep making a payment, pay them something. But
you got to be proactive. Super proactive.
You can't just sit back and say, oh my.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So I think our big takeaways on this is it's really not going to have much consequence on the housing market. It doesn't sound like. You guys think that's probably true? I think,
well, no, I don't think it'll have a big impact, but I also think too, so there were people that were pre-foreclosure before they allowed everyone to do these mortgage forbearances. So those people may get foreclosed on now, right?
Yes.
So they were already processed and in proceedings prior to March of last year. And those foreclosures will come up.
We'll see. The regular knuckleheads, right? Yes. These guys that just the normal not making your payment people, they've been 18 months without getting foreclosed on.
Yes.
Right.
So yearly we have about 500,000 foreclosures that happen just normally.
Right.
And so it's a crazy number, Alex,
So it's a real number. I looked it up, bro.
Yeah.
That was a crazy number.
You know what was crazy was looking at the stats that how since 2008, just the foreclosure numbers have just been dropping steadily. I mean, it's like at a 0.4% of all homeowners might get foreclosed on. I mean, it's such a low number right now. But even with that, that's still 500,000 houses.
Right.
So we've got roughly probably 800,000 of houses that need to probably come on the market in the next 6 months or so.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to how is this going to affect the investors too? The people that are actually buying these homes too.
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like
they're foaming at the bit, man. They want to get in this market. They want to buy real estate. And so I know, we know a guy, and even myself, I've looked at other markets just to try to start finding deals. And what I've noticed is I'm starting to see more come on the sheriff auction. I mean, like double the numbers we had a month ago.
And
so it's coming.
And that's coming. And you got to remind
the forbearance ones though. It's the regular old knuckleheads.
So the knuckleheads are probably selling the houses, or however it might be, an investor selling the houses, thinking that the tenant is not going to make those payments. And since the market's so good, they're making money on that. But see, then you got to get into here's where the issue is with the investors selling the houses right away. So we don't know what's going to go on with the 1031 exchange. We don't know. Okay.
You mean like this landlord.
And so, right. So that's a landlord. Like, let's just stop and let it say you're an investor and you're trying to pick up houses like this. Okay, that's fine. But then you want to get out from, let's say you're getting out from Albuquerque and you're buying in, I don't know, Cleveland. Let's say you're buying in Cleveland, right? And you got to get rid of your money from your 1031 over here in Albuquerque as quick as possible, because we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the year. Is it right? Are they going to extend the 1031 exchange? I mean, because now we're thinking of capital.
That's a whole other topic we could talk about, actually.
Yeah, I mean, because it's pretty amazing. But again, there's
how many billions of dollars of wealth that can get erased just from the policy change on 1031 exchanges.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game right there.
And you will, with these foreclosures, you'll have flippers come up.
And what's that, Martha?
Well, you will with these foreclosures, if people can buy it cheap enough, these investors will try and flip them too, which is going to change the housing market with listings. And like you're saying, people moving. So Albuquerque's not as affordable as Menor right now on affordability index.
Right.
So, if someone made some money in the West and they're investing here in the East where it's a little more affordable, they got to find stuff right away, and they better do it quickly, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want everybody to know, remember that probably at the end of September, making sure that you're checking your mortgages if you are in forbearance and reaching out to your service provider on what's going to happen. Be proactive, just like it says on the screen. Please be proactive. We don't want you to see you lose your house. No. I mean,
if you don't know who to call Chris, call me, call Martha, and any one of us. We can get you going in the right direction.
Absolutely.
We don't want anybody to lose a house just because they're choosing to be inactive about it. Nothing bad has happened yet. This whole virus, everything, this pandemic was nobody's fault. And it did catch a lot of people and put them in a bad situation. Thankfully, whatever we think politically, there was a safety net in place that a lot of people used. But it's time to move off of that now. So you guys give one of us a call. Absolutely. I think that's great advice. We're going to wrap up, but I got a great question here for Chris because, I just love this guy here.
Oh, I got it right here. It's so funny that you said that. I got it right here. What we're going to do, let's see. I'm going to tell you right now, this is something that was just, I just read it yesterday, and give me a second to pull it up. But this is where I'm going to be taking off to
for lunch.
So this is
where are you going?
Oh man, check this out. So it's a coordinator. It's a Brazilian steakhouse.
Nice.
Okay, so it's a Brazilian steakhouse, and so it's opening week in Albuquerque.
Oh, it's a new one.
Yes, it's in Albuquerque. It's at the Coronado Center. It's an international Brazilian smokehouse chain. It's supposed to compete with, it's called Fogo de Chao.
Oh, so you're checking it out.
Fogo de Chao.
Well, you have to let us know how it is.
Yeah, so it's all on KOB 4 site. If you go in there and you read about it, it's supposed to be, it has 12 international locations, 6 locations in Brazil, 4 in Mexico, and 2 in the Middle East.
Wow.
So
Cool.
it's supposed to be pretty good. It's going to compete with, what's that other place out there?
The one downtown, I don't remember the name of it.
Tucanos? Is it
Yeah,
Tucanos? Yeah, so it's supposed to be competing with that. So I am so super excited about that. That's fun food. We need fun food.
I'm tired of know how it is.
You didn't even know I was going to ask that question.
I know. But I was invited to it. I'm like going, oh, I got a perfect one. I want fun food. I love seeing new stuff. Hey, folks, if you want us to go or me to go at a location and rate the food, comment below, and I will go filming live over there and rate the food for you.
And Chris never says anything bad about the food, so you know.
And I will never ever
say anything bad.
Absolutely not.
I don't think you've seen. Have you met much food you haven't liked?
Not really.
It's kind of what I am.
So loan specialist and food critic.
Yeah. I'll go visit.
Loans and food.
I go, yeah.
Dude,
you can go have food and talk about a loan. So that's
yeah, there you go. Have lunch with Chris.
There you go.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up, guys. So for Chris Gonzales and Martha Vallejos, I am Alex, and we are out of here.
See you later.
Thank you, guys. Let me go ahead and close that.